My name is Myra Lewin, and I'm the founder of Halipule Ayurveda and Yoga. Welcome to my kitchen. So now let's go to my spice cupboard. I have it right next to the stove for easy access. And I keep a variety of powders and seeds, as well as some sea vegetable, so that it's easy for me to go into the cooking process. I also have fresh herbs here, and I keep ginger and turmeric in a small bowl right next to the stove, as well as keeping some in the refrigerator. I have some asafoetida here, which is a spice that's very nice for cooking with beans, legumes, and vegetables. And this is without preservatives. It's very nice for assisting the digestion of legumes, and it's tasty as well. There are really a lot of choices with Ayurveda. Any herb or spice can be used in an Ayurvedic way once you get familiar with its qualities. So that's why there's quite a few here, and there's many, many more beyond that. And now we'll go to the refrigerator. So I like to keep this nice thought of Aloha on the outside of the refrigerator because it helps with our attitude when we work with food, as well as our getting ready for a meal. We use only fresh organic milk, and we use it for having sometimes a half a cup of milk at night before bed with a little cinnamon and cardamom and nutmeg and ghee. And then we also make paneer, and we make our own buttermilk from a culture. And so we have that a few times a week just to help balance things in the gut, like a probiotic. If you feel like fresh milk might not be available, speak to your local farmers because you might be surprised at what you'll find. We keep fresh vegetables here and then in the drawers as well. And so notice that there aren't any leftovers. We use fresh, organic, and local vegetables from our farm, Durga Farms, as well as from other local farmers. What we have here is dog food, actually. So we cook the dog food. They're vegetarian dogs and very, very healthy, I might add. And so we keep their food here. We make it in small batches so it stays fresh for them as well. Notice that there isn't a freezer. And that's because we like to have prana in our food, life force. So we have fresh food. So there's really no need for a freezer. And that's really nice in terms of the electric bill as well. And then we keep our nuts in the refrigerator because it's a warm place. But these are macadamia nuts from a farm just down the road. And so we actually shell them partially ourselves. And we use them in cooking and sometimes baking. So we either soak the nuts before eating them or we cook them typically. So now let's go take a look at Big Bertha. The name came because it's a kind of a large cart that we keep all our grains in, and the name just stuck. So this space is under a stairwell, and we decided to take advantage of this space and build these cabinets here for our grains and legumes and that. So here's Big Bertha, just a cart that stores all of the grains. Now we cook for quite a few people, so we might have more than a small family or an individual, but for a larger family this is a really good idea. And then we keep a document here so that we can find things really easily. And I find that's a really important thing in the kitchen, that it's organized so that you can find things easily, so that the process of preparing food is something that's just pleasant and flows. So we keep a variety of grains, brown rice, white basmati rice, as well as some special varieties that we like to have on special occasions. And then in the other cabinet we keep jars so that we have easy access to the grains and to the legumes. So let's go over there. So it's important to have a variety of grains and legumes just to keep things interesting. So, you know, we have brown rice and white rice. We also have some quinoa, buckwheat, barley, bulgur wheat. So there are a number of possibilities even beyond that list. And then we keep the grains on one shelf and the legumes on another shelf. Again, keeps it organized. You know, we have azukis, we have mung beans, and then we have split mung beans, split peas, garbanzo beans. So a number of choices. And then we also store the honey and ghee in here. And you know, remember, ghee is something that it keeps very well in the cupboard. And all of these things, just a reminder that all of them should be kept in the dark. When you keep your grains, especially, or any of your spices in the light, then they lose their life force very quickly. And then on the doors here, we have the spices, and we keep them in alphabetical order so that it's easy to find things. And then we refill the small jars in the spice cabinet from here. Everything is kept in glass jars that are clean and fully sealed so that things stay fresh. It's much better to store in glass than it is in plastic. We also have some heirloom beans, havas and anasazi and the snowcap beans, interesting patterns on them in that. And it's really nice to support keeping the heirlooms prominent. These are the what we might say the original beans that are not hybridized. It might seem extreme to you to be this organized. However, if you cook regularly, it's amazing how much time you can save and how much more peace you can have around the cooking process. So what it really brings you is freedom and more enjoyment. And now we'll talk about what we use for eating. This is where I store the wooden bowls and plates, and I like to use wooden because it feels closer to nature. They're really beautiful and they're not as easily broken as glass or ceramic. So we use only glass containers for storing anything because it's better if you're putting food into the glass container, and then we recycle. We reuse jars and we reuse containers. And then any plastic that we have, we also try to reuse it if there's a good way to do that, and then we recycle them. I use stainless steel pots and pans. I used to use copper, which is also very nice, but I now have an induction cooktop which uses a magnet to create the heat. It's very nice because it heats the pan and what's in the pan and not the room. And these are a little bit lighter weight also. So you want to have a good quality stainless steel because it does make a difference in how the food tastes. You want to be sure to avoid cookware that has a non-stick surface on it because it does leach chemicals into the food, and it makes a big difference in how the food tastes and also in your health. And now I'll show you how we compost the scraps from preparing our food. So we keep a small compost bucket under the sink that we use when we're preparing vegetables in the mornings. And this is emptied 3 times a day into a large bin outside. And some of it goes to worms and some of it is made just as compost. So one of the ways that we try to make sure that we just have compost from the scraps from cutting the vegetables and preparing them is that we lay out our meals the night before. In other words, we'll measure things out and we have a good idea of how people are eating so that we make sure we don't have leftovers. And then that makes the preparation for the meal also that much easier. This ginger grater is one that I highly recommend. It has nice sharp nubs on it so that you can grate the ginger and the turmeric very easily and collect up any juice from it. So here are my top 3 recommended kitchen tools. This ginger grater, and you also use it for fresh turmeric, and then a good pressure cooker, and this one I have actually 2 different size bottoms with 1 lid so that if you're cooking a larger quantity it's helpful, and then a rice cooker. And you want to make sure the rice cooker has a stainless steel interior and not a non-stick surface. Now, this is a large rice cooker, and then I also have other sizes because I do a lot of cooking for a lot of people. So a small one, and there are smaller ones than this even, and then a medium-sized. This small one actually has a steamer basket on the top, which is also a nice feature if you want to make something quickly.
Thank you.
We also have this small pressure cooker when you're just making 1 or 2 servings. It's very handy and things cook very quickly in it. I hope you enjoyed exploring my kitchen and learned something too. This may seem like a lot, but if you just take 1 or 2 steps at a time, they all add up, and then big changes will come and you'll enjoy yourself so much more. Remember that having a clean and organized kitchen makes for fun and creative cooking.